arts are for your life.
Everyone is creative and can make a difference.
Art is something that brings peace and passion to many people.
If you have a God-given talent and that's your passion, I hope that what we bring to those children is they pursue it.
What happens when you can get a group of creative individuals kind of together, they will inspire each other to come up with new ideas.
Take advantage of what's out there and begin to cultivate whatever that passion is that's on the inside of you.
Maneuvering around the COVID crisis in a successful way.
It's a really good feeling to be able to give back.
Just something to kind of fill their cup and make their day better. That's what we do.
We need to fight for the arts.
You cannot just isolate someone and think they only need reading, writing, and arithmetic. They need more than that. You need the arts.
When we're united, we are definitely stronger than ever.
For the last year, artists and arts advocates have worked relentlessly, pushing the bounds of creativity, promoting arts education, and celebrating our region's diverse cultures. The 2022 Arts United Awards celebrate their accomplishments and showcase how the recipients are making a difference every day. And with the help of Fort Wayne's NBC, we're sharing those stories with you.
Muralists, musicians, teachers, artists, and art lovers. You're about to meet an incredible group of people.
And we're going to them, showing you firsthand how they cultivate joy, hope, and inspiration in our communities.
The Decatur Sculpture Tour reached its decade milestone in 2021. Metal sculptor Greg Mendez is credited for transforming his hometown, which is now adorned with many permanent fixtures.
Growing up here, there wasn't a lot of public art. It's still a fantastic community to grow up in and live in. Now, with the Sculpture Tour being in its 10th year, every year the display it differs every year in size and what pieces are featured, but because the committee members are dedicated to putting up a high quality display, the artists that come in inspire each other to keep their artwork progressing. So there's a lot of artists that have been also coming here for 10 years, and I think the community has been able to see their artwork progress over the course of that 10 years, and everything just kind of has a snowball effect.
Yeah, it seems just at a healthy state right now, or year by year. I expect it to grow and new inspirations happening. That's got to be super exciting.
It is definitely neat to see, and what's I think that now through the sculpture program, Decatur has acquired a lot of permanent pieces, and so now what you're seeing go on is a lot of these sculptures are being located in locations permanently, and the public space is starting to be kind of redefined around the sculptures.
Wow.
So now you're starting to see pockets around town where there are permanent pieces of art located, and that space is now kind of, like I said, defined as a public space.
What made you dive into being, a precise metal sculptor, and then how was it when you began?
Well, being in the Midwest, it was the materials were very accessible. You could get a welder, you could get scrap metal. It was just something that I had access to. When I was in school, I actually had an internship with a pretty well-known sculptor named Carrie Schaefer, and Carrie's a stone sculptor. Carrie was also a public artist, but he was established and was a stone sculptor. So being in my early 20s, the equipment, everything to do with sculpture can be hard to acquire, but metal and a welder, that was something that was accessible. So it was just a way for me to create large-scale sculptures with the materials I had access to.
For 23 years, Zanette Page has been bringing opportunity to kids at the Weiser Park Youth Center. She's also been instrumental in highlighting African American history and culture, bringing events like Juneteenth and Kwanzaa to Fort Wayne.
It was a platform for us to say, we are going to tell our story. We are going to define who we are. We're going to name ourselves.
That's really powerful. That's
And it's
really
powerful, and it told the community that you can also do the same. I think if people truly understood culture better, and I'm not saying just your own culture, other cultures better, as a whole, I think we would be in a better place.
How does it make you feel that the younger generation now is responsible for the Juneteenth celebration?
Yeah, you know, it's so cool because as sad as the George Floyd incident was, it sparked a renewing of young people that had a thirst to understand who they are culturally and had a thirst to being leaders in this community. The young people said, listen, what can we do? What should our role be? And they did a dynamic job coming together and putting on Juneteenth. Now, I'm still involved.
Right.
I'm still involved.
I know
There's
you
an
are.
elders component to the Juneteenth collaborative. And the elders' role is to guide and encourage. And I expect them to do far greater than what I was ever able to do because it's numbers.
Why is it so important, though, you know, when the kids come here to expose them to poetry, expose them to different artistic works, drawing? I mean, why do you think that that's been a priority for you?
I think you need to look beyond where a child is now, and you need to look at what they could be. You have to give them a multitude of experiences. If you could give them experiences, programs, they all right. Experiences, opportunities, those are the things that really make a difference.
Through their sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, Sheila Moore and Jomar Bowers-Mizell led the Summer Arts Academy, teaching youth about the Black arts movement and introducing them to a variety of professional artists.
One of the targets of our sorority is the arts, and specifically focusing on the Renaissance, the Black Renaissance art movement. And so we wanted, our arts committee wanted to develop an arts program that also gave young people history of the Renaissance movement and also provide them with some specific skills that would take them, you know, into the future.
The youth that may not have these opportunities at their disposal, you both coming in with this program and bringing it to them, and I'm sure it kind of opened their eyes to a new world.
The program was designed to have a certain number of days for each particular technique and skill. And we identified portrait drawing, pastels, watercolor, fabric, drawing on fabric, painting on fabric, and do you have enough, did I get them all?
Acrylics.
Acrylics.
Acrylics, yeah.
And for each technique, we invited a different artist to actually conduct the class. So we had so many talented African-American Black artists in the community. We made sure that we identified those people who are working with their population so they could see someone that was working in the profession, highly skilled, and bringing those talents forward to the youth. And they were just so excited to have that kind of relationship that is typically not available to them.
And you know, the thing that I loved the most was that we had, I believe, about 20 students in the class, and they were so engaged. I mean, you know, you talk about what goes on in a public school system. There was no problem with too much chattering or talking or mischief. The students were just so engaged and so interested in learning all these different skills and techniques, and they were absolutely awesome.
The parents actually, once they came in and saw what they were doing, they came back and helped the kids. Mm-hmm. It was like a family affair.
Absolutely.
Absolutely
it was
beautiful.
really neat.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And these are things that these kids are going to take with them, as
Yes.
you both mentioned, in the future. You're helping them set up in the long term.
Right.
And so often, people have certain gifts. Some have a natural ability for arts, but a lot of times they don't understand there's a technique and skills you can learn to enhance your natural ability. And I think that's what we were able to bring to the youth with our program.
Leah Reeder merges her many talents to bring moving and diverse exhibits to the public. With a background in painting and African American art history, the Fort Wayne Museum of Art Registrar is known for helping up-and-coming artists.
I always say that volunteering and working is the rent you pay for being on the earth. So you have to, I think everyone should give back somewhere, because I think that the country can go much further. We all can go much further if we give back in certain areas.
What do you enjoy about this job?
It's something different every day, and that's one thing I say. My job is something different every day. Before the holiday break, I was waiting on a gentleman who has his own art shuttle company, and we connected with this camaraderie. His name was Shlomo. He's from Israel. So it was good to talk to him, and he told me about what he was doing and where he was going after that. But it's something different every day. So that I enjoy, because you don't get, it's not mundane.
Being the only African American registrar in the state, bringing African American culture and history and art to the forefront is probably a passion of yours, right?
I want people to know what we do, what we have done, and how much art there is. I have curated exhibitions, which means it's in the exhibition schedule, and then you're the one who's responsible for it. So you determine the layout. So that I have done. There are some exhibitions that I've solely curated. The thought was mine to put together certain types of work together, and that's mentioned that when the Generations exhibition I did several years ago. Personal to Political, an exhibition of printmakers. That was last year, but that was something that was already on the books, and I opted to curate that so I can put forth my story on what I thought was pertinent in that. Everyone has the culture to give back. Give back to look at someone else's culture, and you further understand who they are and what they've done. And everyone has a story to tell. There are several artists that are in Fort Wayne that I'm looking at them and trying to help them in whatever manner is needed. And they know, come to me if you have an exhibit and you need help with how you're going to do that exhibit. I'm there, because I might as well offer my knowledge. There's no reason to keep that knowledge to myself, and I will offer that to anyone, African American artist or anyone, but to offer the knowledge.
The pandemic jeopardized the Healing Arts Program, a partnership between Parkview Hospital and the Fort Wayne Dance Collective. With no way for artists to serve nurses and patients, healthcare workers Carissa Kalb and Carolyn Meyer stepped up to keep it going.
The Healing Arts Program, unfortunately, had to do things and work from home, but they still wanted to provide us with meditations and opportunities to bring joy to the patient, the nurse, what they're good at. They're artists, and they're so good at what they do. So Carissa came in and was able to help us facilitate receiving items from the healing artists that were working at home and help us to be able to distribute them.
That's fantastic. Carissa, can you take me through, boxes and boxes of items that you were picking up and delivering?
I was very surprised when I first started picking up, and I saw all the different kinds of art, from coloring book pages. There was even a Jeopardy game that they would switch the cards and the trivia questions out on, and little trinkets and just all kinds of things. It was really a lot, and all the boxes took up, all my seats in my car.
It wasn't just patients that were positively impacted, but also a lot of the healthcare staff, the nurses that were working extreme hours.
Yes, I'm still working over at PRMC one day a week, and I know I see nurses every day that they don't even get a bathroom break. They can't sit down to have a snack. So they really work round the clock during this pandemic, and they're really, really amazing people.
Carolyn, you've been with Parkview for over 25 years, and then something completely out of the blue, the pandemic comes along. I'm sure it's a whirlwind for you and your staff and having to adapt.
It just showed how resilient we can be and how we can, I love the Healing Arts Program at Parkview. They just do so many great things. And so I didn't want staff or patients to lose that. their gifts are just amazing. And it was just really helpful for us to have that resource on our own cart to be able to distribute. It just shows you sometimes you're put in a situation and good things come out of it.
A leader in one of the most powerful forms of singing, Chris Ford has spent over 30 years as a gospel music influencer. His contributions to the art go beyond Abundant Life Church, where he currently serves as worship pastor.
You know, you oftentimes hear people say, "Oh, I was singing coming out of the womb," you know,
Right,
and
yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but I would say shortly thereafter, you know, I can remember
You've always
having
had that gift.
That's right, and having a mic in my hand and just kind of being blessed.
Well, let's talk a little bit about gospel music.
Sure.
Because I know that's your focus, and I think it's such a special genre just because of the way it makes people feel.
Yeah, it's so moving, and gospel music is very compelling in the stories that the songs tell. You know, we're talking about God and His love for people, and how He encourages us, and how He cares for us and loves for us. And gospel music, in particular, will have you get up out of your seat.
Yes.
And want to move around a little bit and clap your hands and all of that fun
But that's
stuff.
what's so great about it, because
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like, you know, the audience can participate.
That
You
is
know, it's not
correct.
like they're just sitting there watching the performance.
That's
it's
right.
like, okay, I got to get it. You know, I
That's
feel the
right.
spirit.
It's
and-
very engaging.
Yeah.
It's very engaging, and when you, you know, feel the spirit, it has a tendency to make you, you know, want to get involved, whether it's by clapping your hands or standing on your feet or singing along. But the thing I appreciate the most about gospel music is that it can create a life-changing experience. Whatever it may have been, concerns that they may have had prior to coming to witness us perform, that they leave feeling uplifted and feeling like whatever it was they were going through before, they can change and it can be different. And with the help of God, you know, it can turn around. Their situations can turn around.
An accomplished muralist, Brian Ballinger's creativity stretches across mediums, from toy maker to animator to writer. But it's his 16 years in education as a professor of digital media arts at Huntington University that's earned him the prestigious Margaret Ann Keegan Award for Arts Education.
For some reason, I jive with the college age crowd really well, and they're at a point where a lot of them have had a creative journey up until this point, but maybe they haven't quite figured out what their strengths are or what their passions are, and those two things are the things that I really like to focus on and try and help people kind of figure out their place.
All those artists have a lot to look at as they're trying to figure out their own path. Your works, I mean, the range, it speaks for itself. Just this past year, 9 murals.
Yeah, so this mural, Huntington has one of the nicest libraries that I've ever seen. It's here in the children, young adult area, and I love sloths, and I thought sloths were just kind of a really nice, fun, approachable animal. But then I've got them reading books, and I wanted all the books that they're reading are actual, real books about sloths. I did a mural in Andrews, and it was on the side of an ice cream shop. I did one in Markle, and it was on the side of a restaurant called The Pickle. And so it's a pickle riding a tractor because there's a lot of farming community and farmers going by there. A kind of cool way that I sort of try and tie my murals into the education side too is that on a lot of them I use assistants that are students or former students, which is a lot of fun because then I get to know them a little better and they get some experience doing this. And the commonality is that everyone who walks by is interested in what you're doing. And I think that the arts in general in this area are on the rise. I think a big part of that is the leadership of the arts community in Fort Wayne, like with Arts This Way, Arts United, all of that, I think is really making a huge difference in this whole area.
Recipient of the Mayor's Art Award, Dorothy Kataka is recognized for shining a spotlight on the creativity of elementary and middle school students through fame.
What she has done, how she has contributed to the community in that area, I think she's very deserving of the award.
Her love of music, culture, and diversity started very young in surprising circumstances.
I heard my first sound of music in the internment camps by a trumpeter that would play every day the same tune, and I remembered that tune for 70 years. I think that was what made me become so interested in music.
I know it was a humble beginning, but now the Fame Festival reaches 150,000 kids annually.
Well, I think we counted something like at least 5 million children in the time that we have been started, because you're reaching so many schools.
What was it like to see a student thrive in the arts?
Not everyone is going to become a famous singer, artist, but the arts are for your life. I think children have to have this experience when they're very young.
Why was the focus on learning about the culture of a different country or a different place?
Because, a lot of children never get to go to a different country. And I had never been to another country myself because I was born here, of Japanese descent, and I thought I'd never be able to go. So we decided that we'll bring the world to the children. You have to have peace in the world, and what better way than to have the arts be the thing to bring us together, because music is a universal language, and so is art. You can understand it without knowing the language or the people. And then when you can finally bring yourself to go to a country, it's wonderful. And I sort of transitioned from Fame to Fort Wayne Sister Cities and became very much involved. I'm still involved in it. Taizhou, China, and it's going to be 10 years that they've been our sister city, and 45 years for Takaoka, Japan. That's our first city. 45 years. It's going to be this year, 2022.
A binding interest within our community is the appreciation for art in its many forms. Local, regional, and national arts that are highlighted in Fort Wayne and the surrounding areas give us new opportunities for inclusion, diversity, and appreciation. Ruoff Mortgage is a proud supporter of arts organizations, as they are such an important contributor to what makes Fort Wayne a great place to call home. Congratulations to all of the recipients of the 2022 Arts United Awards.
A high honor for not one, but 2 Lifetime Achievement Award recipients. Daniel Roining retired as Artistic Director to the Bach Collegium.
For 20 years, the Bach Collegium has woven a unique musical thread into the fabric of the Fort Wayne arts community. It is the only choral ensemble in Northeast Indiana that performs with early instruments. This last season, we chose to perform only at Zion Lutheran Church. We purposely did so because Zion offered a sanctuary with an expansive front area where 40 singers and our instrumentalists could comfortably spread out 6 feet apart. For those that could not attend concerts, we produced a DVD and a CD as a way to further spread the uplifting, positive, healing effects of our concerts. Arts community and Arts United, we thank you. We are so honored and grateful for this Life Achievements Award.
Chief Condra Ridley has shared her love of reading and African American history to the Fort Wayne community for decades.
Being able to read to children and open up the world of great books and information to them was a great gift and blessing to me. Just having fun with books and bringing them alive even through storytelling, that was a great thing for me to be able to do. I think the children's stories, they really are for everybody. And I think the lessons that we learn, they're valuable for all ages.
The righteous marching ones who sang, "We shall overcome," because Black Lives Matter.
Celebrating Juneteenth became a really big part of my June activities, and I think it's always important for us to recognize how valuable freedom is and to try to protect it. Fort Wayne is my home, and I feel all of us have a responsibility to try to make our communities better than they were when we inherited them.
Once again, congratulations from us to the recipients of the 2022 Arts United Awards. Our commitment to serving our community through arts and culture continues. In December, Fort Wayne City Council approved $3 million of the Legacy Fund for the renovation of the Arts United Center, a theater in downtown Fort Wayne that supports outstanding performances by local organizations like Fort Wayne Civic Theater and Fort Wayne Ballet. The investment had bipartisan support because it is the flagship building for the Arts Campus, a state-designated cultural district. As it nears 50 years old, the Arts United Center needs investment to ensure that it is a welcoming and accessible place for people of all abilities and has the technology required to provide a world-class experience for our community.
I started doing art full-time about 2 years ago, and I started with green and orange. So I decided to do that with this award, and I just started doing paper mache, so I was kind of happy to have an opportunity to work on that technique. And I had a lot of fun making these. I think it's important in the arts to see many perspectives from different artists and give people opportunities that wouldn't normally have the chance to explore the arts or be exposed to arts early in life.